First quarter earnings season kicked off this morning with a slew of big banks reporting results. What should investors keep in mind for the weeks ahead? And how could those reports impact your portfolio? We're taking a look at how to navigate the big picture with Yahoo Finance Playbook. And we're joined now by Will McGough. He is the Director of Investments at Prime Capital Investment Advisors, alongside Dan Skubiz. He is the Ziegler Capital Management Chief Investment Officer and Senior Portfolio Manager. I just want to start with a big picture overview, and let's get to you, Will, first. Where you put on your macro hat, we've had a lot of data this week. We just kicked off earnings season today. What do you think? Where are we?
Thanks for having me on. And where we're at today is earnings consensus expectations are 9 to 14% earnings growth. We're coming off of 2023 when earnings did not grow and we saw multiple expansion. And with multiples already in the low 20s, they can't really expand higher without some other factors coming into play. So we really need to see earnings growth come through this earnings season, and that's what we'll be watching to see if it's going to lead to higher prices throughout the year, as we saw in Q1.
And I want to bring listen, Dan, I want to get your thoughts as well here. Just kind of your big picture thoughts here, Dan. Listen, we could chalk up the weakness today to bank earnings, but we've kind of been chopping around here. What's sort of driving this, Dan, in your opinion? Is it, we're rethinking and repricing the Fed's path? Is it geopolitics? What do you see playing out in the market?
Well, I think it's mostly, you come into the year and the market's expecting 7 rate cuts, and then we get a CPI report like we got on Wednesday. Not the greatest CPI reports previously, although Powell kind of talked those down. But now we're looking at, maybe 2 rate cuts this year. There's, even if we get some reacceleration in inflation, maybe we don't get any. And so I think that's what the market's trying to grapple with right now. And you kind of see the choppy trading since Wednesday. We had a big down day on Wednesday. It was up yesterday, and now we have another big down day. I think the market's just kind of aimless right now, trying to figure out exactly where we're heading from an inflation perspective.
And Dan, let's stick with you. When we break it down, large cap versus small cap, I understand from your notes you like the small caps a bit better. They've kind of broken to new 52-week highs recently, although they've been chopping around this week as well. What do you like about the small caps?
Yeah, Jared, I mean, we're long-suffering small cap managers here, and I think large caps have been outperforming small caps for quite some time. I mean, we can talk about kind of the valuation discrepancy between the two. But I think, investors have pretty much thrown out the small caps from their portfolios. We've been kind of saying for a while that, I think there's still a place for small caps, and I think that there is an opportunity for them to outperform, especially with a lot of the trends that we're seeing, especially getting into some of the CapEx opportunities within the United States, as small caps are more U.S. dominated. And so, I think when we look forward, there's still, the Russell 2000 as an index is a lower quality index. 45-ish% of companies in the Russell 2000 don't make any, are unprofitable. So we think that, this is really a nice time for active, where, active managers within the small cap space have done a lot better than the benchmark, and are a lot more, set up to benefit as we go forward.
We'll bring you back in here. You agree you see opportunity in small caps?
Yeah, and I really like what Dan's saying. So Dan's a bottom-up stock picker. He has the ability to add value in this type of market in a sector or style like small caps. From a big picture lens, which is where I sit, you've definitely got all of the talking points, the media, everybody's all over the small caps in 2024. And when liquidity starts flowing one direction, you want to be on the side of that liquidity. And so with the Mag 7 being, again, over like high 20s PE, S&P being about 21, small caps underneath that, they look attractive from a valuation standpoint. They have room to run if the market's going to continue to go higher. And so from an asset allocation standpoint, I do think small caps make a lot of sense. And then also utilizing an active approach in small cap makes even more sense with that allocation at this point.
Will, what do you think about the tech trade here? Overdone when we talk about AI as we do every hour of every day?
Yeah, so we've actually been on our client webinars this week talking about AI, and I would say we're probably in the second or third inning. It's got staying power. It's going to be around for a while. Right now, it's still in its infancy. It's growing again. The mainstream media is talking about it. It's going to add a lot of operational efficiency and productivity gains to stocks and to GDP. And so I'm a huge fan of where AI is going to take us and would certainly be aligned with those trends going forward.
Dan, and back to you. You agree? Are you trying to play that AI theme as well, Dan? And if so, how?
Yeah, I think within the small cap space, there's not as many opportunities in the tech space. I mean, there's certain names, Fabrinet and Credo, for example, are a couple that have AI exposure. We of course have Supermicro, which is really no longer a small cap in there as well. But we like it more on the industrial side of the coin, where you get companies that are in the HVAC and data center side of things. We like names like Modine Manufacturing, which does air cooling as well as liquid cooling within the data centers. We like Sterling Infrastructure, which is a company that does site selection and site prep work for large projects. So that includes data centers, but also a lot of manufacturing, warehouses, distribution facilities, and that sort of thing. So we're seeing a lot more opportunities in small cap on the industrial side of all of the things that go into the data centers, as opposed to the pure play kind of technology related AI side of things.
Will, we got another question here to you. We got time for one more to you. I just want to kind of give you the floor. Any message to investors, things that you might want to be on the lookout this earnings season?
Yeah, so I would actually piggyback off our conversation today. Mega cap growth is probably 60% or higher. Investment technology, which is going to have the AI theme. Small cap value is probably under 10% investment technology. So it's a good way to be diversified in both of those themes to ultimately have a smoother experience going forward for the rest of the year. We had a big quarter, up over 10%. I think it's happened like 11 times in history. 10 of those 11 have been up the rest of the year. So it's just a matter of what the magnitude is going to be. Election volatility coming into play, maintain some diversification and stay the course. And we'll see how earnings season deviates us from that course over the next couple of weeks.
Dan, last one to you as we head into the weekend here. Clearly some nervousness. I think in part geopolitics is top of mind. These reports that Iran could be getting ready to imminently strike Israel. What do you tell your clients, Dan, when they ask you about these geopolitical events?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, in a lot of ways, we always have these geopolitical events. What we've seen is that they're more temporary in nature. You get a move and then it goes the other way. What's kind of interesting is with all the volatility in the Middle East over the last, 6 months or so, oil prices haven't had the type of reaction that you would expect it to have. And I think, with the U.S. being able to kind of turn on the spigot a little bit more, other countries, Saudi, other areas that are able to open up, I think they're managing the situation. And as long as it remains constrained or contained within the Middle East, we're not overly concerned, but certainly that opinion is open for adjustment.
Dan, Will, thank you guys both for joining the show today. Have a great weekend.